Very good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to our side event at the Commission on Narcotic Drugs 68. And our side event is with the name Strengthening the Resilience of Youth in Challenging Times, the Role of Society and Family. So we want to appreciate and acknowledge the support of the Permanent Mission of Mexico. Thank you so much for being here, Excellency. Thank you so much. And of the UNODC, thank you for your support. And we will start with opening remarks and given by Dr. Maya Riehl. She's the director of the Women's Federation UN team in Vienna. Maya, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Kyungin. As a member of the Women's Federation for World Peace International NGO with ECOSOC status category 1, I am happy to make this brief statement today. Having worked as a general practitioner in Vienna, Austria for 36 years, I wish to offer some thoughts based on my experience in my profession, from which I have now retired. During my time as general practitioner, I met many patients who experienced health problems resulting from a wide range of diseases and in need of various types of treatment. From my perspective, the most important first step was to listen carefully to the patients in order to familiarize myself with their overall health situation and their own understanding of it. Additionally, I found it extremely helpful to discover the social environment of the patients, which involved making home visits. In my view, trust and honesty between the patient and myself as the doctor were the utmost importance to create a foundation for a beneficial and effective treatment. Furthermore, as a medical doctor, I also needed to be aware of my own capability to help the patients through understanding their needs and worries. Frequently, the patient's family also needed to be involved in the healing processes in order to achieve the best possible outcome. If the patient was or is separated from his or her family, the situation became more difficult and complicated. In this case, health institutions and healthcare workers were called in to help create a more stable situation in order to aid the patient's recovery. The most serious problems arises when patients start to self-medicate without consulting a specialist. This may lead to misuse of medication and substances, frequently resulting in the detrimental situation for the patient. We need strong networks in society to prevent this from happening. It is my sincere hope that we can create a more peaceful and harmonious world through understanding and effectiveness of good communication skills and empathy while serving as experts in our fields. Thank you for your attention, and thank you all who helped us to make this event possible.
Thank you so much, Maya. Thank you for sharing your experiences as a medical doctor and the importance you have experienced of the network and society. Thank you so much, and for being our great director here in UN Vienna. Thank you. I also want to appreciate and recognize our colleagues, especially from Latin America today online as well. They are with us, and I hope the translation is working well as well. So we also would like to recognize and welcome Licenciada Marta Patricia Rodriguez Nava from the Permanent Mission of Mexico, and the floor is yours.
Strengthening the resilience of youth in challenging times. Comprehensive approach to drug use prevention, the role of family, society, and government. The next, please. It is during adolescence when this condition is most relevant, since it is directly involved in the formation of identity. The role of the family, society, and government is strengthening resilience of young people is fundamental. Exposure, your unfavorable family, social, economic, geopolitical, and environmental circumstances such as poverty, violence, inequality, and environmental degradation also increases the risk of mental health conditions. Media content that glorifies drugs and alcohol use can lead to increased consumption among young people and can desensitize viewers to the negative consequence of substances abuse. Youth and early childhood require strengthening universal values, identifying and addressing root causes, empowering youth through education and access to mental health services. To recovering young people with drug use and addiction problems, it must be done respecting their human rights and providing comprehensive care and rehabilitation, as well as decriminalization for being a drug user. Risk factors young people to fall into drug use and resilience impaired. Availability of drugs and substance, environment, media and social pressures, friendship and family, deterioration of mental, protective factors of strengthening resilience, support relationship, developing resilience through emotional regulation, family, communication, and environment, and to access to mental health services. The next. In Mexico, the increase in drug use in adolescents and adult puts at risk not only the health of Mexicans, but also the peaceful coexistence of families and the social stability of communities, which is high public health and security policies have been modified to address the score of drugs. Next, please. Implementing strategies, identification and training of the causes, social programs and support networks, mental health and addiction programs strategies, public safety strategies works to reduce the supply of drugs. The next. The images, thank you. The images reflect the actions being taken to strengthen resilience young people with the participation to family, the community, government, and civil organizations. Next, please. Therefore, the programs and action carried out by the government of Mexico are aimed at all age groups to prevent and raise awareness among consumers to seek help, reducing discrimination and stigma towards them. Therefore, from the approach of strengthening the resilience of young people and the attention to the causes, with pillars for children and youth. Implement and promote the necessary tools to strengthen self-care and decision-making, as well as the capacity for self-determination and a harm reduction approach, encouraging the responsibility of each individual in the exercise of their freedom by offering the necessary programs and to minimize the risk of substances use in order to form responsible individuals. Therefore, detecting and addressing risk factors associated with the use of psychoactive substances in the community, in schools, with students, parents, government, and civil society organizations, with healthy, responsible, and resilient development of Mexicans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rodriguez Nava. Thank you so much. And for being here on behalf of the Permanent Mission of Mexico. Thank you so much for your expertise. We have the bios on the table. I will not read them out loud because of time, but they are very interesting bios. So thank you so much for your expertise. Next, we will I want to introduce Mrs. Aala Khani. She has prepared a video and is online with us today. She's a humanitarian psychologist and international consultant to the UNODC. She works with drug use prevention programs in humanitarian settings. So thank you so much, Mrs. Khani, and we will watch her video.
Good morning, I'm Aala, a MHPSS specialist and UNODC consultant, and it's a real pleasure to join you all from Manchester in the UK. In this presentation, I'm going to be sharing our UNODC experience of availing family skills resources to families in challenging situations, sharing lessons learned and what tools are available that you might add to your own arsenal of resources to build youth in resilience in your communities. Firstly, resilience in youth really refers to a young person's ability to bounce back from challenging situations while maintaining their psychological well-being and continuing to thrive despite obstacles they might face. Essentially, it's the capacity to cope with tough times and emerge stronger from them. There's no doubt that all youth and their families will experience challenges at one point, and these challenges will look different for every family. Having skills to cope during challenging times is a really essential life skill. The UNODC International Standards on Drug Use Prevention emphasizes the relationship that parents or primary caregivers in the absence of parents have with their children. And these can be the primary most important factor in the future of children. That's in their emotional and mental health development, and really significantly in reducing the likelihood of them becoming engaged in risky behaviors such as substance misuse and criminal activity. Parenting supports a child's adjustment beyond their own individual resilience. But parenting or caregiving is not always easy, and children don't come with manuals that guide them or guide us on how to best care for our children. And at different times in our children's lives, we might struggle more than others. And caregivers might feel that they're missing the knowledge and the skills to know how best to show up for our children. And this is why all families in all contexts can benefit from family skills resources that aim to strengthen family protective factors like communication, trust, problem solving, conflict resolution. And families that experience parenting under significant stress need these more than ever. Whether the stress is due to living through illness of a family member, whether it's through living through armed conflict, it could be stress due to a challenging divorce, forced displacement, or economic instability. These are all challenging circumstances. And there is clear evidence that family-based interventions in times of crisis lead to stronger resilience among youth. And for this reason at UNODC, we've been developing and implementing family skills open resource information to meet this need, working on really advocating for evidence-based prevention through a global prevention program geared at supporting the Sustainable Developmental Goals of 2030 through the dissemination of evidence-based parenting directed at all families around the world. And we've developed this model of family, multi-level parenting support delivery for families that are living through various stress contexts. And this model has 4 levels of parenting support. And at every level, there'll be a different level of needs that families might have, and also a different level of resources that families might have. And the different levels are addressed at really tackling mental or psychosocial health and are delivered with minimal training by non-specialists. So really easy to incorporate into developmental responses and simple enough to allow really wide and rapid dissemination. I'm going to take you through each of these levels very briefly to show you what tools are available for you to use, because these are all open access tools. Let's start at the bottom. The bottom level of this model are tools that are very low intensity, and this would be available for all adults and children. These are very light tools that can be distributed to all families very easily. For example, at this level here, we have leaflets and videos that can be shared via printing or hand distribution, or simply shared on WhatsApp. They have very basic information, such as how to meet the needs of children during stressful times. So you might find tips on providing warmth and safety, giving praise, reminders on spending time together with children, maintaining routine, and ensuring caregivers keep communicating with their children even when they themselves are stressed. In one project in Syria during the very early stages of the war in 2015, we simply printed these leaflets and disseminated them within bread wrappers, which was the only source of food that families in that war zone were receiving at that time. In other ways, we have also uploaded these leaflets onto a vaccine app for refugees. So there are many ways that we can reach families with these tools. And many of these tools we use have been developed by us at UNODC, but also many are collaborative efforts with other agencies, such as the WHO, the University of Oxford, and the Global Initiative on Parenting. And such collaborations really showcase the importance of coordinated efforts across different organizations working towards the same goal of supporting families with evidence-based information. The next level of our model here from the bottom, the tools become more intensive and more detailed than the leaflet. And here we have these light touch self-read packages, which are suitable for areas where in-person reach might be a little bit difficult. And here we've developed an intervention that consists of a parenting booklet and associated discussion group. So here, caregivers receive either of these booklets that demonstrate key skills in a really simple and engaging way, such as building parenting confidence, building caregiver self-regulatory skills, stress management, and how to enhance child and family psychological well-being. While receiving these booklets, caregivers also can take part in a 2-hour conversation group with other families sitting in the same room. And this conversation group really expands the information in the booklet. Here we have an example of the kinds of themes you might see in this booklet, such as information on what your child might be experiencing and how to support your child, what you as a caregiver might be experiencing and to how to support your child, information on the importance of communication, maintaining safety. And we really focus on youth and how to support children as they strive to become more independent, but also how to keep them safe. The next level of our model, so the third level from the bottom, we're going up now and the tools are becoming more intensive, is for multi-session work. So these include multi-session programs such as the UNODC Strong Families program. And this program is a cost-effective, light, 3-week family skill intervention, which is available in multi-languages. And this is for families, especially in challenged situations. It's been implemented now in over 40 countries, including Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Uzbekistan, and we're also piloting it in high-income countries such as Finland, with underserved populations that experience multiple challenges. Several studies now that we've conducted really demonstrate the ability of such a short 3-week program to increase youth resilience and enhance parenting skills, as well as reducing parental stress and child stress too. And we continue to develop add-on modules for this intervention in response to global needs that we're identifying as we expand implementation internationally, such as a module on managing peer pressure, an important topic that we teach we teach youth practical skills. For example, how to recognize dangerous situations they might face, how to stay safe in these situations, and how to respond when facing peer pressure. The Strong Families is also being developed into an online training platform, and we've already trialed this in over 10 countries very successfully. So we come now to the top of our model, the tip, and here we recognize that for some families, they will need more targeted, intensive programs for children that have been exposed to trauma. And one such intervention that sits at this level is the Teaching Recovery Techniques program plus parenting, developed by the Children in War Foundation and in collaboration with the University of Manchester. This is an evidence-based child trauma recovery program with an added parenting session component. And this is particularly valuable for families that have experienced significant traumas related to both natural and man-made disasters, such as war, earthquakes, or even physical violence, such as rape. And this intervention has been trialed successfully in multiple countries. And here children learn how to recover or how to manage the traumas which can affect them in many ways, such as them experiencing nightmares or debilitating intrusive thoughts. And my experience through implementing this intervention globally is that really when you watch children recover from such challenging experiences like these nightmares and intrusive thoughts, and you watch them recover from these experiences, this intervention really seems truly magical, that you can make such an effect on children and their families. And watching caregivers really gain confidence and learn how to manage their children's potential change in their behavior through upskilling them, through their improved caregiver skills, is so powerful. These programs can change the entire trajectory of a family for the better in many ways, physically, mentally, and socially. So in summary, I hope I've provided you with an insight on firstly, the importance of supporting caregivers with family skills during challenging contexts. And secondly, opened your eyes to the numerous tools available at your fingertips that would service beneficiaries we both are supporting. And you can access these by visiting our UNODC website that you can see there. And that's the QR code that you can scan to reach it too. By using these tools, we're supporting global recommendations that highlight the effectiveness of structured parenting programs and early intervention strategies in reducing the likelihood of substance use and other negative physical, mental, and social outcomes. And this is something every individual deserves and has the right to access. And this weakens the link between living through challenging contexts and negative outcomes. I'm going to stop here, and now my colleague Anna will now share an example of a study which shows the feasibility and effectiveness of implementing such family skills resources in a humanitarian context. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mrs. Khani, and also for being with us and showcasing the evidence-based projects you're doing and implementing, and also highlighting these open access tools that the UNODC is providing. Thank you so much.
This is a case study of implementation of the parenting resources that Aala mentioned, and I'll be talking a little bit more about what they are later. So in today's discussion, we'll give a brief overview of the context of the study methods, some preliminary findings, and the barriers to the intervention delivery. So the Ukrainian context is such that Ukraine has been in the ongoing full-scale invasion since 2022. Ukraine is the second largest country in Europe and had around 47 million people of the population, and at the moment there is 3.7 million internally displaced persons in Ukraine. They're distributed all throughout the country. However, as you can see on this map, there are these dark blue regions where there are more people concentrated. Interestingly, so the front line is around here, and you can see that the people from the areas of the active fighting or that are occupied moved not very far from their original places and stayed close to the front line that is still very much attacked. So this are the regions that we concentrated on in our study. 22% of the internally displaced people are children. So in our study, we focused on Kharkiv, Zaporizhzhia, Dnipro, Odessa, and Mykolaiv. These are these 5 cities that are close to the eastern part of the country that are regularly undergoing bombings from the Russian side, but the families still live there. We targeted the caregivers of children aged 9 to 14. And the intervention was a 2-hour discussion group delivered online and offline, centered around positive parenting. So the things that were included in the intervention were things like importance of praise, importance of spending time with your child, but also establishing routines, even though it might be difficult in the context of humanitarian crisis. But also importantly, it had an emphasis on the well-being of the caregivers themselves. The outcome measures that we used were very brief questionnaires before and 2 weeks after the group that included both children and the caregivers, and also some in-depth interviews. So in addition to the groups, we also distributed some informational resources like tip sheets with very practical advice, a booklet where all of the things that we discussed in the groups were summarized, and a short video. So if you think back to the pyramid that Aala was showing in her presentation, these resources lie at the base of the pyramid, so they are very easy to deliver and they can cover a large number of people, however they're lower in the intensity. So this is the example of the questionnaires that we used. So very simple questions about how many days in the past 2 weeks have you praised your child for something that they did well, spent time with the child, but also about the well-being of the caregivers, so felt depressed or hopeless. So the preliminary results showed that we had seen an increase in the praise for the children, increase in speaking calmly to the child, and increase in the self-care of the parents. And we've seen the decrease in feeling depressed and in emotional abuse, even though it was still quite low at the baseline. I'll just leave you with some quotes from the families. I liked hearing from other parents as to how they deal with the situation, how they explain to their children what is happening. I also liked when my concerns were addressed by the facilitator. When asked to do something for myself, I realized that I do everything for my child. I don't think about myself. After the group, I went and bought for myself something I wanted for a long time. So these are just some photos from the group, and the barriers to the interventions were, linked mainly to the uncertainty and ongoing situation of crisis. And with this, these are wonderful people that were involved in this research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tarasenko, for highlighting this project, and thank you for all the countries who are supporting these amazing projects of the UNODC. Thank you so much. Now we'll go back to, yes, let's have a hand of applause. Thank you. Great work the UNODC is doing on prevention and strengthening families and resilience of youth. Thank you so much. Yes, we're going to go to our Women's Federation for World Peace colleague, Mrs. Kifilwe Lebepe. Very welcome. Originally from South Africa, based in Germany, and she's here representing the Young Professionals chapter, which aims empowering young women and men to reach their professional goals. And Kifilwe, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Kangen, for that wonderful introduction. I'm just waiting for my presentation to be shared. But thank you very much. I'm Kifilwe Lebepe, and I will be speaking about the Women Federation programs and initiatives that help to empower the youth to reach their goals. I will be talking about the regions of Africa, Asia, and Europe. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. In Africa, Women Federation has a Schools of Africa project, which is currently supporting 2,000 students and has produced over 20,000 graduates. One of the schools that was founded is Jamo Social Support Assistance Center in Senegal. And they offer various programs, sewing, embroidery, homemaking. And since 2001, the school has offered a 2-year internship graduate program to offer advanced skills. And in Kenya, the Hando Secondary School was opened in 1998 and continues to grow. This brought relief to the people in the local area who mainly rely on farming and subsistence living and have limited access to education. The school is also able to offer a nutrition program for students to receive free lunches. And those of us here from developing countries will know that nutrition programs are essential for children to keep coming back to school. And another award-winning and recognized school is the Son of Mozambique, which is located in the area of Beira and currently operated by Women Federation volunteers. The school is a high-performing school and also produce many graduates who have been selected by the government to go study abroad in scholarships. Next slide, please. One of the beneficiaries of the Schools of Africa initiative is Dr. Jerry Ajayi Mai. He's a 32-year-old medical doctor in Ghana, and he also wants to build a hospital where quality healthcare can be provided for people in the community, and is also part of our Women's Federation Young Professionals Network and has contributed to our forums. This is very important because in a recent BBC report, it showed a rapid increase of opioid abuse by children as young as 8 years old in West Africa. This makes education an essential investment for us as Women Federation for the youngest continent in the world, which has an average age of 18 years. Next slide, please. And I will talk about Asia. Women Federation Afghanistan opened a women's cultural community center in New Delhi for Afghanistan women who found refuge in India. Here they offer tailoring, design, computers, and other courses. And internally, the women are also being taught the Women Federation curriculum, which focuses on building a world of peace, the woman's way. The curriculum was written by Women Federation members, some I see are here, and it focuses on the self, the family, and the society. The first module is dignity, and it focuses on the self, teaches how to restore one's dignity and also see one's value in the world. The second module focuses on the family and has 3 chapters, including prenatal education, which has 10 golden rules. And my favorite is, look at your child as the bride's son. And in this module, there's also a chapter on familiarchy, which is a bridge between matriarchy and patriarchy. And the last module in this curriculum focuses on society. These are leadership chapters and are a valuable resource for young people who are interested in advocacy. After learning these chapters, one will have the skills to approach formal structures, be it their local government, or even do advocacy work here at the United Nations. Next slide, please. And one of our capacity building programs in Europe is the Young Women's Speech Contest, which has been in the UK since 2015 and has provided a remarkable platform for young women to speak their minds and deepen their thoughts and give insight into their beliefs and values. The program has also been established in Spain and Albania, and in 2022 in Uganda. This Young Women's Speech Network has produced an alumni network of young professionals whose aim is to strengthen leadership amongst young women and develop a strong network and support system for each other. These young women offer their creativity and intellect to Women's Federation and have developed an internship program in line with the regulations in the United Kingdom. And one of the capacity building programs being offered is the Leadership of the Heart, which was created by Women Federation USA with a focus of helping women in leadership programs, be it in society or business. This addresses the challenges that women often face. This addresses challenges that women often face and shows how to deal with difficult circumstances. It addresses the challenges that women in leadership often change and shows how to overcome difficult circumstances in a resourceful manner. In 2024, the alumni network of the Young Women's Speech Contest trained young leaders to become facilitators of the Leadership of the Heart program. Next slide, please. Sharon Nakaungu, co-director of the Women's Federation Young Women's Speech Contest in the UK, was a runner-up in 2016 and is now part of the alumni network, which is taking the Young Women's Speech Contest to greater heights. She also says that learning and educating herself more on the values and mission of Women Federation ignited something in her. The Young Professionals was created for young people from different parts of the world to share challenges they face and work on solutions together. And through our internal and external education programs, we work to create a youth that is resilient to drugs and crime and can become role models who uplift their communities. We will continue to invest in education, sustainable development goal number 4, so that instead of the youth escaping their reality through drugs, they can create a real bright future for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kifilwe, for showcasing all of the prevention programs that the Women's Federation is doing all around the world. Thank you so much. Then we will go to our last speaker of our side event today, and that is Miss Licenciada Anabel Garcia Morales, all the way from Mexico with us here today. She's a radio and television host and producer, creator of the Unopresarios platform, or entrepreneurial ecosystem. And she's also here as a representative of the Women's Federation for World Peace Mexico. And Ms. Morales, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Estimadas excelencias, estimados señores y señoras, es para mí un verdadero honor poder dirigirme a ustedes este día en uno de los escenarios más importantes que evoca la hermandad, respeto, unidad y trabajo, la Organización de las Naciones Unidas. Y más aún, porque vengo con la honrosa representación de la Women's Federation World Peace de mi país, México.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a true honor to address you today at one of the most important forums that represents fraternity, respect, unity, and cooperation, the United Nations. I'm even more honored to speak on behalf of the Women's Federation for World Peace from my country, Mexico.
El consumo de estupefacientes o narcóticos y otras formas de adicciones no es en sí el problema, es la consecuencia de otros desórdenes más profundos y a su vez es el camino a desenlaces aún más complejos que experimentamos como sociedad y que hoy nos reúnen aquí.
The consumption of narcotics and other forms of addiction is not the problem itself. It is the consequence of deeper disorders and, at the same time, the path to even more complex outcomes that we experience as a society and that have brought us together here today.
Desde la Women's Federation de World Peace en México, bajo la titularidad de nuestra presidenta Flor María Franco y siguiendo los lineamientos mundiales, tratamos de fortalecer los esfuerzos de nuestras autoridades federales, representados hoy aquí por la licenciada Patricia Rodríguez Nava, para disminuir las estadísticas que reflejan un aumento del 26% en el consumo de sustancias como cannabis, anfetaminas y recientemente fentanilo entre la población juvenil.
From Women's Federation for World Peace Mexico, under the leadership of our President Flor María Franco, and following global guidelines, we are working to strengthen the efforts of our federal authorities, represented here today by Mrs. Patricia Rodríguez Nava, to reduce the statistics showing a 26% increase in the consumption of substances such as cannabis, amphetamines, and recently fentanyl among young people.
A través de varios ejes, tratamos de contribuir con el fortalecimiento del ser, mediante cursos de la escuela de carácter de forma virtual, pero también de manera presencial en instituciones académicas. Sumado a ello, las pláticas con la escuela de padres, impactando a unos 800 padres de familia de distintas regiones del centro del país para fortalecer habilidades blandas en el seno de la sociedad.
Through various initiatives, we strive to strengthen the self by offering character education courses virtually and in person at academic institutions, as well as through school sessions for parents. These efforts have impacted approximately 800 parents from various regions in the center of the country, helping to build stronger social and emotional skills within families and communities.
Uno de los mayores problemas que se asocian al consumo de drogas o en general al origen de la violencia es la falta de recursos económicos, por lo que, haciendo sinergia con el programa Univerpresarios, que fomenta la cultura emprendedora en Puebla, otros estados de México y otros países del mundo, hemos impulsado la creación de negocios, emprendimientos sociales, capacitación a jóvenes, mujeres y personas en general en materia de manejo adecuado de sus finanzas por casi 15 años, impactando a más de 10,000 jóvenes tan solo en el estado de Puebla, más lo que de forma indirecta se van sumando en redes y plataformas en distintos países, porque creemos que con libertad financiera es más fácil resolver otros problemas.
One of the biggest problems associated with drug use and, in general, the root of violence is the lack of economic resources. For this reason, in synergy with the Univerpresarios program, which promotes entrepreneurial culture in Puebla, other Mexican states, and other countries around the world, we have been encouraging the creation of businesses, social enterprises, and financial training for youth, women, and people in general for almost 15 years. We have impacted more than 10,000 young people in Puebla alone, with even more joining indirectly through networks and platforms in different countries. We believe that with financial freedom, it becomes easier to resolve other social problems.
Abrir el contexto a los jóvenes de comunidades alejadas de las grandes ciudades permite que ellos rompan sus propias barreras limitantes que por décadas han condenado a sus familias. Por ello, fomentamos la lectura entre los más pequeños de la sociedad a través de clubes de lectura para que puedan soñar en grande y alcanzar sus metas, alejándolos del consumo de sustancias o de la práctica delictiva, llegando a más de 70 familias.
Expanding opportunities for young people from communities far from large cities allows them to break the limiting barriers that have held their families back for decades. Therefore, we promote reading among the youngest members of society through book clubs, helping them dream big and achieve their goals, keeping them away from substance abuse and criminal behavior. These efforts have already reached over 70 families.
Mujeres sanas y seguras serán mujeres más productivas. Por ello, se atiende de forma periódica a mujeres con jornadas de detección oportuna de cáncer de mama, beneficiando a casi 500,000 de familias al año, y sumamos esfuerzos con colectivos para tratar de disminuir la violencia contra mujeres, niñas y adolescentes, para disminuir desde nuestros campos de acción la práctica de micromachismos, violencia en el noviazgo y otras prácticas que pueden terminar en abuso sexual, trata de blancas o feminicidios, porque creemos que el trabajo desde la familia puede revertir las estadísticas.
Healthy and secure women are more productive women. That is why we provide regular breast cancer screening sessions, benefiting nearly 500 families annually. We also work with social organizations to reduce violence against women, girls, and adolescents, focusing on eliminating harmful patterns such as microaggressions, dating violence, and other practices that could lead to sexual abuse, human trafficking, or femicide. We believe that working from within the family unit can reverse these alarming statistics.
Concientizamos en materia de derechos humanos sobre la importancia de la convivencia con empatía con quienes menos tienen.
We raise awareness of human rights and the importance of empathy and solidarity with the most vulnerable.
Estamos conscientes de que falta mucho por hacer, que tal vez no podemos cambiar el mundo de la noche a la mañana, pero sí podemos sumar y cambiar la realidad de muchas familias para que en el seno de la sociedad la vida sea más confortable, plena y de contención.
We are aware that there is still much work to do and that we may not be able to change the world overnight. However, we firmly believe that we can add value and change the reality of many families, making life more comfortable, meaningful, and supportive within the heart of society.
Compañeras funcionarias, líderes de nuestras organizaciones, excelencias, damas y caballeros que nos ven en todo el mundo, sigamos trabajando desde cualquiera que sea nuestra posición, con lo que tengamos, con lo que podamos, que nada detenga nuestro andar. Honremos el legado de quienes lo han hecho antes, aún con todo en contra.
Colleagues, fellow leaders of our organization, Your Excellencies, and everyone watching us from around the world, let us continue working from wherever we are, with whatever we have, and with all the determination possible. Let nothing stop our progress. Let us honor the legacy of those who came before us, even when faced with challenges and adversity.
Y a quienes tienen la honrosa oportunidad de tomar decisiones en todos los países, y en mi país, representado aquí por la licenciada Patricia, por favor sea tan gentil de compartir con el gobierno mexicano que desde esta tribuna les decimos a todos los países que no están solos, tienen nuestros reconocimientos y reiteramos que la WFWP es una aliada, así como todas las asociaciones, liderazgos y personas que nos sumamos con gran compromiso al mismo objetivo, porque nuestro principio rector es que vivamos de forma justa, en paz, y que nuestro paso por la vida valga la pena.
To those who have the honorable responsibility of making decisions for their countries, Director Patricia, please kindly share with the Mexican government that from this platform we want to say that you are not alone. You have our recognition and support, and we reaffirm that Women's Federation for World Peace is an ally, along with all the organizations, leaders, and individuals who are committed to the same goal, because our guiding principle is to live justly, in peace, and with purpose.
Que la paz sea una elección consciente en cada individuo, que cada familia, en cada rincón de nuestros países y en el mundo entero, hoy, mañana y siempre. Porque hablar de paz es hablar de invertir en uno mismo, es invertir en nuestro crecimiento interno, porque la paz empieza con cada uno de nosotros. Gracias.
May peace be a conscious choice for every individual, in every family, in every corner of our countries and throughout the world. Today, tomorrow, and always, because talking about peace means investing in oneself and fostering internal growth, for peace begins within. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Morales. You're a very active lady. She has a lot of initiatives in her country. You can check the bio, and we saw also some photos. in hospitals, all kind of projects. So thank you so much for coming all the way to Vienna to represent the Women's Federation for World Peace Mexico. And thank you so much. And thank you also for all of our colleagues online from Latin America, especially today of the Women's Federation. We appreciate your support and the cooperation. So we're coming to a close of our side event, and I would like to welcome Mrs. Renate Amesbauer. She is the president of Women's Federation for World Peace Austria, and also our very active secretary of our UN team. So thank you so much, Renate, for being here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear colleagues, guests, and excellencies in the room and also online. I'm probably the least used to speak in this forum because I'm always acting behind, as my dear colleague said. But I really want to say thank you for all of you who are here. I want to say thank you for all the presentations given. And it's really so amazing to be this triangle. So I'm so grateful for Mrs. Patricia Rodriguez, who decided to be with us, even with the language. It's not so easy, I understand, yeah. And I'm very sorry, there's one colleague, she wanted to come, but there was something happening and she could not be here, would have helped this translation, Ms. Gabriele Tomasini. And this to be the government that has a vision. And thank you very much. You said we have common values inside of ourselves. And I think this is what brings us all together here. Also, those who came because you got to know about this event the last few days, maybe. And we're very grateful you're here. And also the triangle with UNODC and your very valuable work and of Dr. Aala Khani. We know her. She has been a panelist 2 years ago already. That we were online at that time, all of us. And this belief that family relationship is so important and we can always invest in our children, no matter the age. My children are not young anymore, but still I know it's up to me also to keep talking, keeping the relationship, keep the relationship going. Even they want to be very independent, but nevertheless, and we have grandparents among us. So parents, grandparents, and children and grandchildren, it's such a beautiful community. When we can keep it going, we can always rebalance. When it gets out of balance, rebalance it again. Because it's also it is something that we did not invent ourselves. We are all, many of you are very clever and we are very scientific, but actually naturally the family is given by nature to us, by our creator, by nature, and we can really use this institution. And I think a lot of work is done from all of you to keep families going, to keep them happy, to keep them a place to grow up safely. This is always our topic as Women Federation, and together with Dr. Malouf and the other representatives, Karin Peters, thank you very much for supporting our technique today and supporting our event. And also, because if there is a safe space to grow up and become 20 years old or 22, then you have something where you can start your life with. Then you have your own ideas and you have your own creativity. And so also in this case, thank you very much for Kefilwe to be with us as a young person. She's very young still. So to help others to grow. And also special thank you to Ms. Anna Tarasenko. Very sorry that we cannot see you and have you here in person because you work in this area where there is a war. This is really heart-wrenching. And I think we can all take a breath and really believe and trust that there can be a world where we don't have any more wars, that it can stop. We can recover and we can build this new world, the older ones, the younger ones together, because it's inside of us. I also thought I want to mention we have this barometer inside of us and we can always help each other to recharge this barometer for these values and for this beautiful world that Annabelle, our new colleague from Mexico, because we only got to know each other 2 days ago, despite language problems, we really had a nice time together. Thank you very much for taking the time to come to us here, because Mexico is not next door. It's really along. She was on the road, on the flight for one day. Also, Ms. Rodriguez, you came here for this conference. Thank you very much for being here, because I think all together we can make a difference to have this network of like-minded people, like-minded, like-hearted, one in the heart and mind, and in our actions. And I'm very, very amazed, we're very impressed to learn about our colleagues in the Latin American region Actually, there was a video, but maybe we can show the video at the end. This I wanted to share with you, and please go out of the room with full of hope, because like Maria Riehl, our dear Dr. Maria Riehl, she always said, how do you heal? You heal with the healthy part in society, so we can be the healthy part, and also know that, there is something that even our thoughts, our mindset, it's always going to influence the others, so we can keep going and influencing, like homeopathic medicine, the society around us. With this, I want to close, and maybe we can still look at the video from our Latin American colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Renata. Women Federation for World Peace is transforming lives across Latin America and the Caribbean, bringing character education to students, families, and communities. Through in-person workshops and online platforms, WFWP is spreading values, emotional well-being, and a strong sense of purpose, helping people become the best versions of themselves. Argentina, for over 20 years, has been at the forefront of character education, reaching thousands of participants with essential topics like sexuality education, addiction prevention, and leadership development. One of its key programs, COFEPRIS, is a step-by-step guide for children, teenagers, and adults, empowering them with lifelong values. Since 2002, more than 2,000 teachers have been trained in HIV prevention and character education, they ensuring that every student gains the tools to make responsible, informed decisions. Dominican Republic, WFWP's work has impacted over 3,000 students and 18 teachers in Santo Domingo Oeste. Through interactive workshops and storytelling sessions, children and youth develop discipline, moral principles, and self-awareness, learning what it means to lead a life of integrity. Themes such as teenage pregnancy prevention, family values, and ethical citizenship inspire students to build a brighter, more responsible future. In Mexico, WFWP is empowering women, students, and families through conferences, workshops, and digital education programs. In Hidalgo, 120 women, including community leaders, attend a leadership conference where they gained the confidence and skills to make a difference. 60 university students participated in ethical leadership training, preparing them to become role models for the next generation. During International Women's Day, 100 women joined family values workshops and community building activities, strengthening their role in society. In Nuevo León, weekly Zoom workshops on family values and character education connect participants from Venezuela, Ecuador, and the USA, spreading wisdom beyond borders. In-person conference focus on violence prevention, raising awareness about domestic abuse and harassment in schools and communities. Nationwide family values workshop, meaningful discussions on building a strong ethical households. In-person events continue to inspire teaching family dynamics with the vision of strengthening marriages and communities. The impact across Latin America, from classrooms to communities, from local gatherings to international online sessions, WFWP character education programs are shaping future leaders, empowering families, and creating a culture of peace and responsibility. This is more than education. It's a movement where values matter, where integrity is cultivated,
and where every person has the potential to lead with wisdom and compassion. Join us building a better world, one heart, one family, and one community at a time. Together, we can create a future filled with character, purpose, and hope.